All right, let's spend a minute with the new head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucks, and that is Lovie Smith. Lovie, Mike Francesa in New York on the Fan Yes Network. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mike. How about you? I'm
Good.
just going to jump in here right away. My kids, I didn't give them an option. Hey, you're going to college, period. Did I hear that right?
Well, we were talking about the idea of these guys. Like, someone said Winston should sit out next year now because he can't come to the pros. And I said, you know what, guys should have an option to come if they're ready. They think they're ready. They should be able to enter the draft. I think they should be allowed to.
I just jumped in on the end of the conversation, so I'm going to stay away from it.
Okay, I understand, Lovie. Congratulations, first of all.
Thanks a lot. And we're, Mike, pretty excited to say the least. I got my start here, have an opportunity to come back home and have a good foundation, and hopefully we can build on that.
It is a homecoming. You guys had a lot of success in Tampa. You built Tampa into a very prominent place. You built it into a place where there was a great defensive tradition, yourself and Tony and everybody else. And I'm sure for you it is a bit of a homecoming.
Yes, it is that. And I've, of course, maintained relationships with a lot of the guys. Of course, Tony is going to be a lifetime friend. Guys like Derek Brooks, of course, and we're all just anxious to put a better product on the football field. We're a 4-12 football team right now, and we know we need to get a lot better to compete in a tough NFC South division.
Lovie, how was your year, for someone who has been a successful head coach as you have been and have been around the NFL every year for so long? How was your year off? Was it interesting? Was it different? How was your year off?
Well, a little of both, Mike. First off, a great year, and I really mean that. I mean, everybody should get a chance to just hit that stop button, which I was able to do, of course, not by choice. But and what we did is I worked on being a better dad, better husband, better grandfather, did a lot of traveling, and then just studied the game. I had a chance to really analyze, I watched high school games, went to college games, I went to one NFL game, and then just becoming a fan on Sundays and watching games and critiquing them the rest of the week. So we got a lot of football stuff done.
Did you spend a lot of time? Now, everyone knew as soon as you wanted to come back in, you were going to have multiple jobs and you were going to be a coveted person. Did you spend a lot of time thinking staff and keeping in touch with guys? Because guys tell me now the hardest thing is putting a staff together.
Hey, Mike, that is probably the hardest thing, I would say. Definitely right up there at the top. But when I say spend a lot of time on football, I'm talking about every aspect of putting a program together. Yes, the staff was a big part of that. Guys I didn't know, I reached out to them. Some I wanted to see their product in person. Brought some to my home in Lake Forest. One of the reasons why I went with Jeff Tedford is, spent a lot of research on Jeff, talked to people that he had coached, and then final thing of him coming and we spending a couple days together. So, yes, putting a staff together was part of it, and then just analyzing everything you do, Mike. I mean, training camp, your game week routine, all of those things.
Yeah, because things have changed so dramatically. Training camp has changed so dramatically just in the last decade. And I would think now it's a unique challenge for a guy like you, and we're talking with Lovie Smith, who's down in Tampa now as the head coach, who has built the defensive reputation. It's very challenging now for any defensive coach in this league. The rules keep mitigating against you. I mean, everything mitigates against the defense. Very challenging now for a defense to be good.
It is, but there are some teams that are still relying on, nowadays, Mike, of course, everyone want to talk about how many passing yards and just it's an offensive game and you can't survive. Defenses can't keep up with the good offenses, but I just don't believe. I just, see it a little differently. I look at the NFC, on the NFC side, the Final Four right now, you have Seattle, defensive team that runs the football. You have Carolina, a defensive team that can run the football. You have San Francisco, a defensive team with a big push towards running the ball too. So you still have some good defensive football teams out there that win games that way. But I think you can have that and also be able to bring your offense along, and that's what I'm excited about. We have a lot of great defensive pieces in place here in Tampa. But
well, I'm sure
we got to get that offense right, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovie, I'm sure that it didn't, when you met the media yesterday, I'm sure it didn't go 2 questions before somebody asked you about you with Revis and the coveted the Tampa 2. So how about Revis? How about Revis is integration into your system?
You're right. It wasn't long before I was asked that question, Mike, and what I told them and what I'm saying now. First off, we do have a cover. Tampa 2 is based on what we did here, but we don't play that every snap, and that's the misnomer a little bit. We'll play it some, especially in passing situations, but majority of the time our cornerbacks are just like every other. They're going to have to play man-to-man. Our best corner matches up versus their best receiver. Whether it's man, zone, a corner is by himself, unless you're rolling up in too deep anyway. So we have a place for a great guy with cover skills that's also a tough football player. Revis can do it all. He's got the full package as a cornerback, and we definitely have a spot for him.